This video is addressed to ICSI in general, but Professor Petrick in particular. Professor, in our communication on LinkedIn, I misstated the nature of lexical units as they pertain to frames and frame nets. Granted, NLP may to some degree of accuracy be able to identify relevant frames based on words and text which are lexical units in those frames. But on closer examination, while words such as action nouns, verbs, and adverbs apply generally to frames, some nouns may refer specifically to elements within the frame, as would adjectives describing those nouns. Providing an NLP system with that additional essential information would thereby extend reliable semantic role labeling as well as more reliable word sense disambiguation in keeping with the theory of frame semantics as envisioned by the late Professor Fillmore. FrameNet in its current form provides definitions for lexical units as they relate to particular frames, although any mapping between definitions which doesn't exist for particular lexicons has to be created from scratch. In any event, I've seen in a number of papers and at least one ICSI blog post of enhancements to FrameNet which have been proposed but never implemented. One of these is relationships between elements within a frame, or if you will, intra-frame element relations. For example, side 1 and side 2 are within the set of sides, or a locale is within a place, indicating one or more frame elements comprise a subset or part of another. Another is relationships between elements between a pair of frames which themselves have relationships, based of course on whether one frame inherits, uses, perspectivizes, precedes, or is causative of another frame, what you might call inter-frame element relations. By these relationships, NLP systems could establish such frame relationships between individual sentences in a body of text more comprehensively and accurately. Still further, consider if using a lexicon such as WordNet, in which synsets are related based on hypernymy and hyponymy. Such NLP systems could identify words and phrases in text as entries in WordNet, identify the synsets representing each sense of the entry, and seek those synsets and their parent hypernym synsets, which are assigned to frames and frame elements instead of lexical units, which would extend further accuracy for word sense disambiguation and semantic role labeling for frames more accurately identified as relevant. This also has the advantage of economy. By assigning WordNet synsets to frame and frame elements, few if any other assignments would be necessary since all the descendant hyponyms, being more specific words describing a slightly more general concept, would apply automatically in the case of nouns and verbs. And even then, if lexical units are preferred instead, using WordNet could generate even larger list of lexical units from the hyponyms of the synsets assigned than could possibly be obtained otherwise. These are all ingenious ideas to enhance FrameNet beyond its current form, even if the last two are mine. But while they've been proposed in papers and blogs, apparently no one has gone to the effort of actually bringing them to fruition. If anyone has, they've been keeping it a secret, otherwise the ICSI would have implemented them at the current version of their site. If we ask ourselves, who's going to do all this work? We're asking the wrong question. We should be asking ourselves, who has already done this work? And at this point, the answer probably goes without saying. I am making available to the ICSI via the SourceForge link on this YouTube video page a Windows executable application which provides to the user not only the ability to effect the full range of enhancements I've just described, but to view and edit the enhancements which I have already made, the data for which is stored in tables which, when exported through the interface, are fully compatible with the current database structure of FrameNet, as far as I was able to ascertain from the XML pages in the ICSI's FrameNet data section online. While the interface is as intuitive as I could make it, I also include a brief user guide in PowerPoint. I understand that NSF funding is the lifeblood of much of the work you do, and quite possibly your grant eligibility would be at risk if you received work which was not specified in your grant application, or from someone whose name was not listed, or more especially from someone who does not possess a PhD. It would be remiss of me to ignore any of these considerations. Therefore, as you see from the status of this page, this YouTube video is unlisted, and will remain so. You are the only ones who know it exists. If, however, after the 2 weeks from the posting of this video I receive no acknowledgement of its receipt, I'll simply assume that you have no interest and will make it available to anyone in the field of NLP who wants it. In either case, The reason I make it available is that FrameNet is one of the reasons I've been able to pursue my own work, and out of profound gratitude, I extend to you this token of at least comparable academic value. Thank you for your attention.